From Dana White saying Pereira struggled to make weight at UFC 267 to him insisting on a rematch with Israel Adesanya, here's why Dana White can't stand Alex Pereira. And it all starts with Adesanya versus Alex Pereira at UFC 287. Now, we all know that the match between Izzy and Alex at UFC 287 was pretty iconic, and a lot of people were pleasantly shocked at how well Adesanya performed against his longtime rival Alex Pereira. One of these people was UFC President Dana White, who seemed to be really impressed at Izzy's knockout of Pereira. After things seemed to go south for Israel when he faced a low kick from his opponent, something clicked in him and he turned the fight around. And before you know it, he had sent Pereira to the canvas with a powerful knockout. Dana White had a lot to say about both the fighters after the fight ended. He called Israel Adesanya a fearless fighter and said that he was really impressed by the way the fighter fought. The UFC president added that unlike what people had been saying leading up to the fight, he didn't think that Pereira had gotten to Izzy's head. Dana added that according to him, Israel is a special fighter and he's different from the rest, explaining how he's one of the few fighters who's always willing to fight as much as he can per year, despite already making enough money and having a belt. He also said that Adesanya is the kind of fighter who's ready to fight anyone anywhere. And even after he lost to Pereira twice before, he still wanted a rematch because Izzy always wants to fight the best of the best. But the president of the UFC didn't have such nice things to say about Alex Pereira. Instead, he offered some criticism and advice. Alex Pereira is a champ, no doubt there, but that doesn't make him invincible to criticism, especially from Dana. Alex has won against Adesanya thrice in his career, but according to Dana, those times might not have been as fair as we thought. In a press conference after UFC 287, the president said that in this fight, and even the last time the two faced each other, Pereira struggled to make weight. He was heavier than he was supposed to be before the fights. If that wasn't bad enough, Dana said that according to him, the best thing for Alex to do after this fight is move up a division. White added that he doesn't think Alex would be able to fight at middleweight anymore, especially not after losing this fight against Israel Adesanya. The UFC president also said that he remembers just an hour before the official weigh-ins at UFC 287. Pereira still had to go down by around 2 pounds. At the end of his statement, he added that he's not sure if Pereira would be moving to 205 or cutting to stay at middleweight, but according to him, that's what would be the best thing to do for the fighter. I would bet anything he moves to 205 after this fight, White added. He told the fans to ask Pereira himself and see what he says. And you can bet he responded. After Dana White told the public about how he thought Alex should move to 205 after his loss at UFC 287, people were dying to find out what Alex had to say about it. And it was only a matter of time before Alex made an announcement on what he was going to do next. BJ Penn was the first to break the news on Twitter with a video straight from Pereira. In the video, Alex confirmed that he'll be moving up to 205 pounds. The fighter also posted a video on his YouTube channel where he told fans the same thing. According to the video, Alex wanted to announce the big news himself to his fans through his channel, just as he had promised. The fighter continued to talk about how people have always questioned his weight cut to fit into the middleweight division, and how he felt like it was the right thing to do back then. But according to Alex, now is the perfect time for him to stop cutting down on his weight to step up into the 205 pounds division. But just because he's moving up the weight class doesn't mean he's not willing to fight his old-time rival once again. According to him, if he stayed in the division, he'd be able to beat Izzy in a rematch. But before we even talk about another rematch between the two, it looks like Alex has other goals, one of which is to fight Jamal Hill and take the champion status from him. But despite his enthusiasm, the UFC president has other plans for the fighter.
Early on,
Pereira said he didn't feel much difference in Adesanya from when they were kickboxing of Israel Adesanya. He will make a read to try to get to you.
Right after Alex Pereira announced on his YouTube channel that he was going to be moving up a division, people started wondering what his first fight was going to be against. And before you know it, he's already picked his next match, and it was against none other than the current champion, Jamal Hill. The two fighters seem to be going back and forth on Twitter, with Alex challenging the champion to a fight. Now that's ballsy, won't you agree? But hold your horses. As much as we'd love to see this fight happen, it won't be happening anytime soon. Why, you might ask? Well, that's because Dana White has other plans for Alex for now. According to White, Alex will have to bag at least one win in the division before he can challenge the current champion and come for the belt. In a press conference in Kansas City, the president of UFC said that just to be considered in the title contention, Pereira would have to not only fight, but beat someone in the 205 division. He said that Pereira would have to beat a real guy, and that's what the promotion was looking for at the moment. And as soon as they find a worthy opponent, the former middleweight champ could move one step closer to trying to get a new title for himself. And from the looks of it, UFC has already found just the right guy to put against Alex Pereira. Now that we know that Alex won't be going against Hill, question is, who exactly would he be fighting and when? Well, Dana announced that they've finally found the perfect opponent for Alex's debut in the 205 division. Pereira's debut fight in this new division is going to be against former champion Jan Blachowicz. The fight is going to be on the 29th of July at the co-main event of UFC 291. And there has already been quite a lot of hype about this fight, with fans making predictions on how the fight will go, especially since Alex just lost via KO to Israel Adesanya. Even Alex knows that this is going to be one of the toughest matches of his career, and it could either make him one of the biggest players in the sport or ruin his reputation even more. He spoke about his upcoming match on his YouTube channel and said that he knows just how experienced and dangerous a fighter Blachowicz is. He called him an all-rounder and said that he thinks it's going to be a great first fight for him in the division. Now that's something debatable. No, Alex added that the reason he thinks the UFC chose Blachowicz for his first fight is because they know his story. They know that he was the middleweight champion, and they wanted him to fight a guy in the top 5 as his first fight. But apart from his first fight coming in July, there might be one more match we might get to see. Alex Pereira challenged Israel Adesanya to a fight again. Now, just because Alex has moved up the division doesn't mean he's not willing to settle the score with his old-time rival Israel again. After Izzy defeated the middleweight champion and got the title back, he went online and decided to have fun mocking his opponent. Fans were living for it, and honestly, some of the memes he posted were kind of funny too. Like the one where he posted a picture of knocked out Alex from UFC 287 edited to look like a crime scene, with the caption, "I love this game." Apparently, this was the final straw for Alex, and he decided to reply to Izzy's tweet. The fighter decided to openly challenge him to another fight. He said that it was impossible for any fighter to be better than him in kickboxing, but in MMA, it would be a fair game between the two. He continued to tell Izzy to come forward and be real with his fans, and to come fight him one more time so everyone knows who's the better MMA fighter. So from Poatan insisting on a rematch with Israel Adesanya, to Dana White saying he struggled to make weight at UFC 267, that was why Dana White can't stand Alex Pereira.